Built for More podcast, Denny Thompson, Pastor Joby Martin, back every week. Well, I guess we took 1 week off, technically. That's our first week off in I don't know, it's been a while.
Yeah.
It's been a while. Yeah, it does happen. It does happen. Tyler Wells is with us right now. I don't even know how to start with you. That's why I kind of paused a second ago, because your story, Baltimore Orioles pitcher, just wrapped the season.
Mm-hmm.
But you came in late in the season, right? September we were just talking about. But I want to start way before that with you, Tyler. And I am always curious about minor league baseball. Because Joby, Tyler went 2017 Cedar Rapids Kernels.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Like popcorn kernels.
Yep.
I love minor league names.
Isn't it great?
2018 Fort Myers Miracle and the Chattanooga Lookouts. And then 2019 the Pensacola Blue Wahoos. And then 2020 was canceled because of COVID. And then in 2020 he got called up, or actually Rule 5 draft, and then eventually made his start. So you spent a good, 4.5 years in minor league baseball. Is it as bad as everybody makes it out to be?
You know, it's funny. I was actually talking to my wife about this because we were watching the movie Midway the other night. And I was talking about how it's one of those things where it's like you don't have the camaraderie with a lot of guys like those military guys did, like during Pearl Harbor, World War II, and all that stuff. The minor leagues is like that because you go through, 14, 16-hour bus rides, you're sharing seats, you're all going through this suck together.
Yeah.
And, it's really bad. You're earning $700 a month.
Big time.
And you're just not, you're just going through it. And everything kind of banks on, the performance side of things. But ultimately, what you have is the guys. It sucks to a degree, but it also creates friends for life. So my best friend, the one that I sat on the bus ride with for 16 hours from Bowling Green, Kentucky, all the way back to Cedar Rapids overnight, 14 or 16 hours. He was my best man at my wedding.
Oh, that's cool.
And, he's my best friend to this day. The guy that I got drafted with, he was our first round pick while I was with the Minnesota Twins. He's one of my best friends. And then, you just go through a lot together, and you have to rely on those guys to be able to talk to them and go through life problems.
That's what I love about baseball, man. When you see a dude in the big leagues, he's made it through some stuff.
No doubt.
In football, they just get drafted.
Yeah.
I
guess college is almost like the minor leagues.
Except for how many rounds are in the baseball draft?
When I got drafted, it was 40. Now, I think it's 20.
You were 15th, is that right?
Yeah, I was
15th round?
Yep.
Yeah, imagine that. 40 rounds of drafting. New people coming in all the time. They've got all these weird drafts in Major League Baseball too. Like the way he got to the bigs was what's it called? I just said it a second ago.
Major League Baseball Rule 5 draft.
Rule 5 draft, yeah.
Basically, the Rule 5 draft was created to avoid organizations from talent hoarding. So basically, what'll happen is that for a college guy, it's 4 years. For a high school guy, it's 5 years. And you have to be added to the 40-man roster of a major league organization, or you're eligible then for the Rule 5 draft. Now, typically, it doesn't mean that everyone's going to get picked or anything like that, but this typically means that the guys who perform really, really well have an opportunity to go to another organization and, a chance to make the major league roster. So there's two portions of it. There's the major league draft and the minor league draft of the Rule 5. And I was the last round of the Major League Rule 5 draft, which basically means, and there's only 2 rounds, but basically what that means is that you have to be on the 25-man roster the entire year. Now it's the 26-man. But you have to be on the roster the entire year, or they have to send you back to the organization that they picked you out of. Now, if you're a part of the minor league side, you basically just go over into their minor league organization.
Seems complicated.
Yeah, it does. And where did you go from before you went to the Orioles? Where were you?
I was with the Minnesota Twins organization.
That's who drafted you, right?
That's who drafted me, yeah.
Twins. Were you highly recruited out of high school?
No, I was kind of a nobody. I was saying it before, I was in Morgantown, West Virginia. Halfway through my junior year of high school, I moved to Southern California to a little town called Yucaipa. And I didn't have really anybody there. We knew that there were some good like major league draft prospects that came out of there, and then one of them's Taiwan Walker with the Philadelphia Phillies, and Matt Davidson. He was with the Diamondbacks and White Sox for a while. But yeah, I didn't get recruited at all. The only way that I ended up getting into college or people finding out about me was there was a Kansas City Royals scout who saw me that was running a scout team, and he just saw that I was really tall, which I was not a lot of the time. I went from 5'8" my freshman year, 5'10" my sophomore year, to 6'4" my junior year, to 6'7" my senior year. And he was just like, he looks tall and he looks like he has a decent arm. And
Wait, you went from 5'8" to 6'7" in high school?
Yeah. I grew 7 inches over the course of one summer. That was the 5'10".
Did it hurt?
Yeah. My
How awkward were you?
So bad.
How awkward
like
were
a
you
baby
back then?
giraffe.
Yeah, exactly, right.
Well, that's exactly how I threw too.
Is it?
I mean, it just worked out that way. Like, it's funny because like baseball was always my way of making friends. So like I said, like I moved a lot, and not a lot in the aspect of like military families, but just a lot for in general. And that was like my only way of making friends was baseball.
Mhm.
That's the only thing I knew how to like relate to people in. So, whenever I got there, it was just that was like those were my guys at that time, was like the baseball team. And yeah, I just ended up, they just threw a flyer on me.
Did you throw hard in high school?
I touched 90 in high school,
Oh my gosh.
but I was still nobody. It was very, very rarely like did that happen. I would say that, I was most of the time I was probably like 85, 86.
And then what about college?
Uh,
Velocity.
my last year, I got told that I was like 90 to 94. So that's how the Minnesota Twins drafted me. Was there's a guy, we call him DJ, and he was the scouting director for the Minnesota Twins, and we were playing Sonoma State, and he just happened to be there to watch their starting pitcher. And I come out and I'm like this big old lanky dude and throwing 90 to 94. I think I struck out like 10 guys. And, after that, it worked out that way. And I was like, okay, cool. And they just kind of followed me, and
It's cool, actually.
it just happened.
So he was there to see somebody else.
Mhm.
You took advantage of it. And then did that guy draft you, or did he just kind of put you on the map a little bit?
To be honest with you, I'm not 100% sure.
Yeah.
I know that the scout that did draft me that I was in communication with the most was John Levitt in Southern California. And even to this day, he still texts me and like keeps up with me. I get to
cool.
see him every
That's
once
awesome.
in a while. I mean, it's a family whenever you kind of go through a lot of those things together.
I want to kind of work a little bit backwards with you because he's got a cool story early on in his life, but I want to save a little bit of that. I've always wondered this, like in baseball, because there is minor leagues and it's so hard to get up there, and then you get called up and it's just as easy for them to send you back down as it is for them to call you up, right? Talk about when you got the call in that first game that you pitched, like the nerves and just what does that feel like? What was
it
that
Camden
like?
Yards?
No, it was in Fenway.
It was in
Well,
What is
so
that like?
So this is where I was very fortunate because
Okay.
this was right out of COVID. So it was in 21, and they had 25% capacity.
Okay.
So that's the max that they could have. So it wasn't like it was a packed house. But I'm sitting there. We're up like 10 to like 1 or 2 or something like that, and it's kind of in the 7th inning, I think. And I'm thinking, okay, I'm probably going to end up pitching. Like this is an ideal situation to throw in a rookie. And I'm sitting there with Wade LeBlanc, and Wade LeBlanc's, he's been in the big leagues a long time, and he was one of my guys I would talk to a lot, and he was kind of showing me the ropes of everything. And he was telling me a story. I'll get to that in a second, but. Anyway, I'm warming up, and I get these guys behind me. And Fenway, it's super small. The bullpen is tiny, but the fans are right on top of you. I mean, it's like I'm here, and you're right behind the fence, maybe just a smidge further.
just talking to you
And
nonstop.
they can just chatter you up. And so anyway, there was these I remember distinctly these 2 guys, and they were just drinking beers, and they had these tall boys and everything like that. And one of them did like a stone cold Steve Austin, slam their beers
Hey, that was
together
me and
and
Joby.
chug.
That was that was us. Yeah.
Same accent.
But I remember that, and they started as soon as I got the call to go into the game, all I hear is them start chanting my name. And then the whole like little I was on the right field line running in, and the whole like little right field corner line area started like chanting my name. And then Wade LeBlanc told me, he goes, "Yeah, while I was in the bullpen, I was like watching where you were." And he's like, "As soon as you hit that dirt," I go, "Up, lost feeling in his feet." And he was not wrong. So you don't that adrenaline rush, you don't know like how to deal with it at that time. And I mean, I literally didn't feel a thing. I was afraid that I was going to throw this ball to the backstop. And I ended up having a scoreless inning. I didn't get my first strikeout. My first base hit was to Christian Vasquez on a little blooper. And I worked my way out of it, and then yeah, it was just kind of go from there. And I was
Would you just have like some weak ground balls and a pop up, or I mean,
yeah, I think it was like a ground ball to shortstop or third base, a pop up to second base, and then like a pop up to center field or right field.
yeah, when did you realize, holy crap, I belong in the MLB?
Uh, I think once I started gaining my confidence probably about halfway through the year. So, ironically, I my one of my worst outings I had that year was against the Minnesota Twins at Minnesota. And I thought I was like going to debut with Minnesota. And I remember like super frustrated. I go into the dugout afterwards. I go back towards like the bathroom, and I'm in there fuming because I did so bad. And I realized that at that particular point in time, like I needed to kind of change something or change my approach, because everything I was doing, it was like I had to hype myself up. I had to get mad. Like I had to like lock into this whole different being of who I was.
Uh-huh.
And after that, I think I didn't pitch for like a week and a half, 2 weeks maybe, or something like that. I don't remember what it was. It felt like a long time. But I don't know how long it actually was. And I think my next outing, if I'm not mistaken, was against the Minnesota Twins again at Camden Yards, and I got my first major league win that day.
Oh, wow.
And I think I threw like 3 innings. I think the starter struggled, and I came in early and ended up pitching pretty decent. And from that day forward, like I realized that everything about my game was mental, and I needed to really kind of take a step back and stop trying to hype myself up and stay under control. And I kind of called it in my mind like controlled chaos.
Mhm.
Like I had to be able to control the chaos, but I needed to let chaos kind of roam free whenever it needed.
How'd you do that
But
though?
breathing.
Well,
I mean, deep breathing. Right now, like I'm even now, like whenever I go out there as a starter, like you have to breathe, you have to like look up and kind of just take that deep breath and kind of realize like, all right, like I need to get a ground ball here. I need to think through it. I can't just be a thrower. Like we're
yeah.
called pitchers for a reason. You got to be able to set up guys. You got to be able to read swings. You got to be able to throw certain pitches and certain counts to get guys to roll over into a ground ball double play or whatever it is. And that's kind of where it's like I'm a big experience guy. I like learning through experience and through wisdom of other people. And so I just really relied on a lot of the older guys to kind of help me through that. And
So what's it like? I've always wondered this because it kind of all looks the same to us,
Mhm.
right? Unless you're not hitting your. I mean, if you're walking people, that's a totally different thing. But what does it feel like? What's the difference on the inside of you between a great outing and a bad outing? Is it they're just making contact and it's falling, or you know what I mean? Does it
Yeah.
feel different, or do you just feel like, well, this is unlucky. They didn't hit it to the right spots.
Oh
Does
no.
that make sense?
Yeah, I would say that the difference is really in just the way that I handle it,
Mm-hmm.
because I think that there's a lot of ways that you can handle it, and you can look at the things that you do good and write those down and focus on the good things that you did. And then you can kind of go back and, rework a little bit of what you could have done differently. But I was more in the mode where being a reliever is different than a starter,
Uh-huh.
because the mentality is like you could be in the game the next day as a reliever,
Right.
and you got to be able to have a short memory. As a starter, you have to be able to kind of know how you're setting guys up. You have to have a quick memory because you're going out there in the next inning, which
Yeah.
is like 5 minutes. 10 minutes if it's a good long inning or even longer.
And you assume you're going to see him at least twice, maybe 3 times.
Yeah.
Versus this might be
Oh,
it.
yeah.
I'm going to throw the world at him because
Yeah.
pitch 2 at 1 inning. You know, I'm
Oh, yeah.
probably not going through the lineup
Well,
twice.
as I started, when I first became a starter in the big leagues, it was in 22 after my rookie year because I was a reliever, and I worked my way into the closer role at the end of the year
Okay.
as a rookie. And I was like, this is the coolest thing ever. And then I blew 2 saves, and I was like, I hate this because I don't like losing. I hate losing. I hate not being good at things. And so whenever I blew 2 saves in a row, and on top of that too, is to the Toronto Blue Jays and the New York Yankees. And I'm like, these are like the 2 worst teams to like blow it to because these are like the best lineups that we were facing at the time. And so anyway, as a starter, I tried at the very early part of the year to pitch like a reliever. It did not work. I think my first outing, I pitched like 1.2 innings and gave up like 4 or 5 runs, a homer. It was bad. But as a starter in 23, I put up a really good first half, and I realized that there was a lot of me needed to kind of calm down and start thinking through it. And there was one thing that the man that I'm going through my discipleship with now, his name is Mickey Weston. He pitched in the big leagues for a little while and pitched like he played professionally for 14 years. And so we talked, and during our Bible studies during spring training, the one thing that we always talked about was what do we want most as people? Like, what do we want to do? We want to control everything about our lives. And so we started trying to relate that to how do we take that onto the field as well? And so whenever I stop trying to control it and I'm just like, okay, like I need to take a deep breath, I need to relax. And I say a quick prayer. I'm like, God, help me see what you need me to see and get this double play. Like, and
Mhm.
it would work. It would like, it would work often.
You have not because you asked not. Let's go. Pray specifically.
Yeah.
And so whenever I came back this year after being gone for basically 2 years with injury, it was kind of the same thing where it was just very calm, cool, collected. Don't try and, overamp yourself and relax and just take it one pitch at a time.
You ever face somebody? I always ask all the fan questions. And so I don't know if you listen to this. He'll ask all the faith questions. I ask all the fan. I'm a Braves fan. I watch 70 games, and what we lose 40 of the 70 probably. How are we so bad? That's a different question. Anyway, I do want your answer on that at some point. But you ever face somebody and you're like, holy moly, I'm pitching to whoever,
Oh man.
or not, or you're like, no, I'm in the league. That
Yeah.
I don't really fanboy because I don't look at them as Major League Baseball players. I look at them as people. You are a person first. You are not a Major League Baseball player first. And
Well, you're more mature than me because that'd be like,
Oh yeah.
You know?
well,
yeah, for sure.
like on the field with somebody you grew up watching or
Like
something.
like back in the day, Barry Bonds.
Oh Lord.
Yeah.
I mean, it's like that with like Mike Trout.
Yeah.
Shohei-
Okay. So
Shohei.
Trout
Ohtani.
walks up there.
Yeah.
Aaron Judge probably is batting like 450 off me.
He's the only guy that looks you eye to eye.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and you know what's cool is that he's the nicest guy ever. Like I sit there.
Don't
and
say that.
I
hate the
I know, but it's bad because I sit there and I think I gave up literally 1,000 feet worth of home run to him in one game.
Congrats.
That's a feat.
That is.
But
It is.
record.
but if you look at Camden Yards Stadium,
Uh-huh.
he hit it both times over both bullpens. And so I think I got him.
They have the stacked bullpen.
Yep,
Yeah, that's
yep.
right.
So anyway, I got him to like pop out the first base at that point. And I'm running over there just to cover and whatnot. I'm like, dude, can you stop hitting the ball so hard? And he goes, dude, come on, you're nasty. I was like, shut up. I was like,
wow.
you just hit 1,000 feet worth of home run off me.
That's
Come
cool.
on. But, it's funny because I was like that. Like Nelson Cruz was another one. He had my number, but it was a lot of fun. Miguel Cabrera was an interesting one. He taught me something that you can only do by playing him. And it was the mental side of a hitter.
Okay.
Because I remember having this conversation with some of our hitters. I believe it was in 23. It may have been 22. But we're sitting there and I'm facing him. I throw him like a high fastball, and he sits there and he goes, yeah, that was good. And like he lets you know. Like he looks at you right in the eye. And then I'm like, "Okay, I got him this time." Like, I'm gonna throw that same pitch, and he's freaking whack. It's like Homer. You're just like, "Oh, no. That's not what." So, the next time that I get to face him was in Camden. I threw him a high fastball, or I threw him something, and he goes, "Yeah." No, I threw him a down and away slider.
Okay.
And he sits there and he goes, "Yeah, that was it." I was like, "Not this time." So up fastball struck him out. And he sits there and he's like, "Ah." And, it's funny because you get to see those things. And experiencing that is where it's cool to kind of see how that older generation's kind of coming out and then the new generation's coming in. It's like Clayton Kershaw right now.
Mhm.
Like, I mean, he had his
Yeah.
last game at Dodger Stadium last night.
Yep.
Last one, and that guy's been pitching there for like 20 years.
Forever.
Wow.
And I
Yep.
played with Charlie Morton this year too.
Oh, yeah?
And Charlie is an unbelievable human being. But, it's like you just sit there and you listen to some of like the experience that he has. And, it's cool to be able to get to share the baseball field with those guys because there are things that they have done that I may never get to do. But you get to kind of live vicariously through them, but you also get to learn and like change your approaches. And I'm going into this next year will be like my 6th year in the big leagues. And, I can honestly say that I have to start changing some things. So it's like I have to be able to talk to these guys and experience as I'm getting older, as I'm learning. Like I have to be able to make different approaches.
Do you know, like when you're warming up, do you know that I don't have my stuff today?
If it's a bad bullpen, it's going to be a good day out on the field.
Is
Is it like golf? Is like
yeah.
at the range?
Sometimes, yeah.
It's like, oh no, I'm hitting it great down the range.
Yeah, I'm going to triple the first hole.
Yeah, it's funny because it's kind of hit or miss. It's a little different that way because, like, there's some days where I throw a great bullpen, I go out into the game, and I get shelled. Then there's other days where I don't throw a good bullpen, and I deal. And then there's days where it's kind of the same thing. I don't throw a good bullpen, I go out there and I get shelled, and I throw a good bullpen, and I go out there and I do well. I think the biggest thing is, like, consistency in your mindset, like, how you approach it.
So you keep talking about the mindset thing, and I keep going back to, I think you and I talked about this, Joby, a lot of studies that have been done from a lot of science types about the effect that prayer has on emotions. And really that's what you're talking about, right? Like when you talk about your mindset, you're talking about your ability to control your emotions in situations where very few people can control their emotions. And usually the people that can are the most successful people. But I think we're learning that that's a big time role that prayer plays in emotional intelligence and emotional maturity, things like that. Did you find because you're recently a Christian, right? Like,
Yeah, I'm definitely newer in my faith, but I have a whole story about that where I
okay.
think that it kinda goes back to whenever I was a kid.
Okay, well, do you want to go there now?
Yeah, we can.
Because this is interesting. Um, so Tyler lost his mom when he was 4.
Wow.
To help me out here.
Acute myeloid leukemia.
Okay. And so single dad, right, at that point. And then you were really close with your grandmother.
Yes.
Is that correct?
Yeah.
Do you want to tell the story about the game that you pitched? Or I'll let you just kind of take it over because I read a long article about it and I don't want to butcher it. So I want you to kind of tell the story of your grandmother.
So, I lived with my grandparents for 9 years, and, my grandpa was we recently just had his funeral.
Mm.
I was there a couple weeks ago, and I was, speaking at it, and you kinda forget, like, whenever you're that young, like, he was our baseball coach. Like, my dad loves baseball, and my dad was a big part of that. My dad was still always there. I lived with my grandparents for 9 years as my dad, and after my mom passed, he ended up, um getting together with my mom now, who's been there since I was 6 years old, and, so she was going through medical school, and he was, living with her at the time, and, I was with my grandparents. My dad would always push us to be the very, very best that we could, and, he grew up with his great-grandpa listening to Vin Scully talk
Mm.
to the Dodgers 'cause
Yeah.
his whole side of the family's from California.
Mm.
So, I've always loved baseball, like I said, that was my best way, like, that was my way of making friends. But this was the one time that I realized that it was the one thing that gave me purpose in life. And, um, one day I'm at I'm in high school. It's like, believe it's my sophomore year. I'm on junior varsity baseball team. I'm supposed to start that day. We're playing I forgot who we were playing, but we're going down there and it's like a 45-minute drive and we're about halfway through the day and I get called to the office and I'm like, what's going on? And my dad comes in and he tells me, you know, my grandmother passed away. And first thing I asked him is which one, because I didn't have much of a relationship with my other one.
Mhm.
And he told me it was my grandma that had passed. And I had lost it. We had went home. I was bawling my eyes out. Um, and I told him while I was on the couch and we were all sitting there and we were mourning, I told him I wanted to go play. And so he had to drive me back to this high school. I had to get my baseball bag. Then he had to drive me 45 minutes down there. And we show up to the first, it's in the first inning and it's 7-0 and we're losing. And so I show up, I tell them like, hey, like I want to pitch. So they tell me go warm up. I come in and I strike out 14 and we win the game 8-7. And
That's like a movie.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
it like it's hard because it doesn't sound real.
Mhm.
Like and that's kind of like one of those weird like defining moments where baseball was the thing that I loved the most. It was the way I made friends, it was the way I got my stress out. It was the thing that just gave me joy. And so anyway, like over time, that was like my thing. I went and played baseball the same day that my great grandpa passed away too. You know, he had passed and I was supposed to pitch that day and I went out and pitched. Did not do as well that day. But, you know, it's one of those things where I personally love the opportunity
Mhm.
to go out there and represent them on the mound
Mm.
whenever I get the chance.
I think it's a language too, man. Because remember, like Brett Favre lost his dad and then went and threw for 1,000,000 yards on a Monday Night Football game, and it's just like a 3 hours, 4 hours. Of course, the flu game with Jordan, and you can go through these things, and it's just like I don't know. I think for a lot of athletes being around a lot of people, they feel safest on the field. You know what I mean? Like it's in a weird way. I know that's weird.
Well, especially
But-
if you lose a parent or a grandparent. These are the people that took you to all the games. I
Mhm.
mean, nobody wants you to succeed more.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
the
yeah,
one that buys the glove and drives to all the practices.
No
and,
question.
You know what I mean? It does all of that. I mean, it really, I mean, non-athletes, well, probably not any non-athletes listening to this, but they just won't understand how honoring it is actually to the name of the person that you love. Because they're the person, there's no athlete out there, that doesn't have somebody that invested in them, that took them to the practices, that threw in the backyard, that, encouraged them when they were down, all that kind of stuff.
I mean, it's a lot of time. I mean, think about
Especially
how much time.
baseball.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well,
Baseball is the craziest, bro.
Yep.
well, our travel schedule now is
But even like
crazy.
JP played. I mean, he played year round. If you didn't play year round, you were not going to play the next year on that team.
Yeah.
And I get it. In my world, all the pastors, they're always like, let me just tell you this. This is for free. All the pastors that are always bagging on Little League sports, their kids suck. That's just true. That's just true because JP was an all-star baseball player and he was a, varsity
He
athlete.
loved it.
And I loved it. Coached and baptized all of his friends. So the most of the people that are bagging on it, your kids aren't very good. And so then you come up with a theological reason. Now you can't bow down to the idol of it. You better get those things in order. If baseball's first, you're gonna be let down. Because even if you go to the bigs, what happens when you're done? If you worship at the idol of baseball, it's gonna let you down. But if you see it as a gift from God and you just are you're playing the hand that He dealt you. I mean, that's Matthew 25. Like God made you a good pitcher. You had to work with it, but you didn't make you 6'8". I don't know what your wingspan is, but it looks like a pterodactyl or something. I mean, I don't care how hard I throw, I can't throw like you.
Yeah.
And so to leverage that and use that for the kingdom, but to bag on it as if that's not a part of God's plan for you early, I'm just telling you, I know the pastors that bag on it, and they have unathletic genes.
And I think parents a lot of times mean well because they understand that the percentages are so low.
Sure, but
But we live in a world where you can't tell us percentages, bro, because, I mean, Tyler I see him almost every day, right? He can back me up on this. Half the people that we see from high school on end up playing.
Yeah.
Big time
But
sports.
here's the thing. All right, as a parent of a kid that played high school sports and currently, like, is training MMA, whatever. JP and I had this conversation yesterday. He took a kid to work out, and he was just thanking me for making him do hard things,
Hmm.
And I was like, dude, I don't know. Sports was a big part of training up a kid on how to do hard things.
100%.
How to finish a season in a sport you don't love, maybe, right? How to figure out how God wired you. What do you do? How do you handle loss? How do you deal with other people?
Mm-hmm.
Because, especially team sports, man. And then I was led to Christ by a football coach. Not a preacher, not an evangelist, but just a football coach. So
The older I get, the more I appreciate about sports. The most I appreciate about sports is the fact that maybe this isn't true in baseball, but in football, you've got 60 minutes. And if you're getting your butt kicked in that first 5 minutes, like, you got to figure out the other 55. You can't run and hide anywhere. Like, there's nowhere to go. Like, there's so many times, like, in life where it's like, oh, I'm just going to hit eject on this. And then something amazing comes out of the fourth quarter, the last 10 minutes, 12 minutes, 15 minutes, whatever it is. You just keep throwing punches, man. You just keep going. That's the thing that, as I've gotten deeper in life, it's hard to recreate that for your kids.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Because we want to protect them, right? So it's like, if we see something that they're not good at or could hurt them or damn, we want to pull them from it. But, man, I think just about everything that's worth anything that I've done in my life, I've had to go through some crap.
No doubt.
I've had to go through some fire.
Here's an interesting perspective about baseball. Baseball is a game of failure. That's literally
Yes.
what the name
Yep.
of it is. It's a game of failure. Think about it this way. You fail 7 out of 10 times, and you're considered one of the best in the world.
Yep.
Yeah, right.
Yep.
As a hitter.
Yeah.
And, I think that baseball is the best sport. Personally, I think this. But I think it is the best sport to not only create an athlete, because I think that baseball players are some of the best universal athletes. I'm not saying that they're always going to excel at every single sport that they play, but I think that they create some of the best universal athletes, but I also think that they create some of the best people because you learn how to deal with failure. Like, you're talking about how it's like you're down in the first quarter by like 2 touchdowns or whatever, and it's like you're scrambling to try and figure it out. If I give up 3 or 4 runs in the first inning, I better figure it out real quick because I have to get through 6.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
And I did that in 23 against the Kansas City Royals in Kansas City. I gave up 3 home runs in the first inning. And it's like, you're like, if I can't salvage what this start is, then I need to be able to get through 6 to save the bullpen, to give them an opportunity to either win the game later in the game or at least save their arms to be able to pitch in a game that matters if I'm not going to sit there and do my job.
Yep.
And that's what my job is. You have to be able to change your perspective on it. I think that sports are hands down the most important thing, one of the most important things that you can force your kid into. I'm not saying that you got to make you have to be the, person to you have to do this and there's no other thing. But it's like, if you, as you said, you can't quit halfway.
Do something.
You also know, I'm not picking on him. I say this all the time. Dallas played baseball young. Well, that's not his thing.
Sure.
Right. That would have been, I would have been child abuse for me to make him play another 10 years. You know what I mean? His thing is he's creative and he does great with that. So that's awesome. But the other thing that you said that I think is really cool about baseball, and I see this in our facility too, Joby, he mentioned how he's made friends through baseball all the time. We get this cool little, I don't know, what is it, a month and a half in January where football meets baseball in our facility. So we have our draft prep, our combine prep, and then we've got all these guys going hard because they're getting ready to go to spring training. It is fascinating to see the difference. You get the football guys over here that don't say much. They just go in, they just work, they just run, they do whatever. These jokers talk nonstop. These Major League Baseball, because that's what they do all year.
Well, specifically me. I talk a lot.
But right, bullpen, road trips, you have to have some type of social skills or you're going to be absolutely miserable.
Yeah, if you're an MLB pitcher, you are mostly not playing.
Yeah.
Think about that.
Yeah,
right?
yeah,
I pitch every 5 days.
Right.
Like, that's my job.
But you got to go to every game.
Oh, yeah.
What do you do the whole time?
Talk. I mean, I talk. I try and lift guys up. I mean, it's funny because as I kind of said earlier, like watching Midway the other day, it's like that's how I view a lot of my teammates. Like we're going through a lot of suck together, and once you get to the big leagues, sometimes it's very masking. It's that mask of money and fame and fortune, and I think that that's where a lot of baseball players are really good at rooting their faith in Jesus because it doesn't allow you to be this non-personable
Mm.
like person.
Yeah.
And if for me, whenever I look at it, I love buying things. I love, going to spend good money on good meals and all that type of stuff. But at the end of the day, the thing that I love the most is not doing that for me, but doing that for other people that don't get the opportunity to experience it in life.
Yeah.
I remember my dad took me and my little brother to an Angel game whenever we were young. And I believe it was either Justin Morneau or Joe Mauer. It may have been both of them. Came over and they signed autographs, like signed some balls for us. And my little brother Ryan ended up giving his signed ball to a little kid that wasn't able to get one. And I ended up having the ball that they signed for it. And it's just I remember that moment distinctly because that was the one time where it's like, I hope that I'm in the position one day to be able to influence like young kids into pursuing their dreams. Baseball has always been a dream. Like you can ask since I was 5 years old, this is what I wanted to do. And, you know, kind of going back to what I was saying, like as a kid with my faith, I played baseball with these guys and I got invited to go to a Christian camp with them, and I heard that it was a lot of fun. You're there for like, a week or something like that, and they had wrestling like in nights in the dorms, and you're just beating each other up, and you're having fun and all that stuff. But um, the reason I say that I'm new to my faith, but I'm not really new to it, was because during that time, I remember us walking into the chapel. They come in, and everyone's just like lined up. And like I wasn't really paying attention. I didn't know what was going on. And then as we're walking down the line, I see them praying over people. And it's adults just bawling their eyes out.
Mm.
And that was the first time as they were praying over me. And this was with my friends too. I remember the feeling of someone just wrapping their arms around me. There was something that overcame me that I could never explain to this day. And I go into the back behind the pews and, I'm sitting there with my friends and we're just bawling. Like
Mm.
all of us are just crying hysterically. And I remember whenever I went to PAO for the first time in 21 or 22, that was the first time that I had felt that again.
Wow.
And that's whenever I gave my life to Christ because that was the first time. And then after I was listening to you a lot of the time, like you, my wife, and PAO were the three biggest influences on me at that time to give my life to Christ because I saw what it did to people. It changed people.
Mm.
Now, by no means am I like steady and all of that because I suck.
Oh, on this
a lot of the time.
podcast, we already
fit
know
right
that,
in.
brother. Yeah, we already know that.
But, especially now that we have a daughter and, me and my wife have been married less than 3 years. It's one of those things. Like the first year of our marriage, like we had been married less than 2 years. And the first year of our marriage was going through that rehab of Tommy John surgery.
Tommy John. Yeah.
And that's whenever we also found out that she was pregnant during that time. And, it's crazy because this is where you really know God is there and God is working. Because if it wasn't for the fact that I had surgery, I would have never got to see my grandpa before he had passed because he had stage 4 pancreatic cancer. Right before I was to have surgery, they allowed me to drive down there and go see him whenever he was really, really bad. And then he ended up holding on for a whole nother year to be able to see his great granddaughter
Wow.
and his great grandson. And then it wouldn't have given me the opportunity to have a kid. Like, there's a lot of times where it's like, people talk about they're missing their windows or something like
Oh,
that.
yeah.
Like, never know what's going to end up happening. But at the same time, too, this was probably one of the biggest ones. I wouldn't have been able to be there for my wife for the 2 weeks that she needed me to be after she had a C-section
Mhm.
if it wasn't for the fact that I was injured. We get like 2 or 3 days. We get like 48 to 72 hours to be with our families before we have to go off again. Like, that is how God works.
Yeah.
And it takes a lot for me to sit there and kind of like look back on it and just realize like you're not playing a short game. You're playing a very long game. And sometimes you don't understand it at that particular point in time as to why you're going through such struggles until it was, I mean, I was probably 17 or 18 years old till I realized why my mom died.
Mm.
Like, I would never be here with you guys if my mom didn't die.
Mm.
Like, I would have never had the opportunities I had to influence people or to um, meet my wife, have my daughter. I would have never been here if it wasn't for that one life altering thing mixed in with all the other life altering things that you think are so bad.
Yeah.
Like, this is just a phase. Like, I said it the other day in my at my grandpa's funeral speech. It's like, if we give our life to Christ and we have faith in him and we serve him in the way that we, are supposed to, I will see my grandpa again.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't the final goodbye.
That's right.
And that, that's really trying kind of been my approach and how I'm trying to live out my life as like a dad. And that's why I love like what we're going through right now with Stand Firm and Act Like Men, because my wife needs a man. My daughter needs a man. I'm the first man in her life.
Mm-hmm.
I'm the one that sets the example. So why is that so important to me? Like, I don't want her to know me as like, oh, my dad was a great baseball player. No, my dad was a great dad,
Mm-hmm.
and he was just a baseball player after that.
Yeah. The Orioles will have lots of pitchers. Your daughter gets one dad.
Yeah.
Don't screw that up.
It's got to be like, if you're listening to this, if you listen to every episode, there's a lot of you that do, and we appreciate that. But you hear this over and over and over again. The Pollock episode was fantastic. Just so much comes out of the worst times of our lives. And it's so hard to believe that when you're in the middle of it. Like, it's almost impossible. And there's so much fear around, and this is the big takeaway I've had from this podcast now that we've been doing it for a little while. It's the fear around the worst case scenario that gets you. Like, it's that constant worry of, what if this happens? What if this happens? What if this happens? 90% of it, they say, never happens, right? Mm-hmm. And your brain can't recognize a real event from something you thought up. But at the end of the day, like, you should be able, and I should be able, to eliminate all and every fear, because everything that I've been through that was fearful or bad came out fruitful, right? And that's not just me saying that. That's, you've said it. Pollock said it. I mean, how many times has it been said on this podcast that some of the greatest things that came out of our lives come out of the worst times? And I think that should give people confidence moving forward. I think that should eliminate
fear. It's not just
fear.
rooted in our experience. Romans 8:28, that God is at work in all things for the good of those that love him and are called according to his purpose. And so God is at work for the good. So if it's not good, he's not done.
Mhm.
Think about that.
Yeah.
And he is at work. And one of my mentors, Jim Bergen, a pastor in Colorado, I've said this before, he had a very traumatizing childhood, right? Now he's a pastor of this church. He's got a beautiful family, all the things. And he will say, even though that is not the script I would have written for my life, if that's what I had to walk through in order for God to shape things for me to be right here, then I would do it again. And so if you had to be injured in order that you could be the husband and dad that you needed to be for that season, then glory to God. But good on you for seeing that, for seeing him at work in all things, even a surgery, for the good of those that love him, and you love him, and you're called according to his purpose.
Now, the question is, like, if you had to be injured, why couldn't you, it's got to be the right arm?
I mean, that's all part of it too, right? Because like, there's a lot of times I'll sit there, I'll ask questions. I mean, I already know it, like, that I'm terrible at so many different things. I'm terrible at giving recognition. I'm terrible at complimenting my wife. This is why I like what we're going through right now.
Get ready for these next few weeks, boy.
Yeah.
Buckle up.
Because it's hard. Like, it's not easy to be what you need to be. But I've found that, as I go through my journey with Christ, because the things that are required of us and the time and the commitment and the things that are really what give us peace of mind do not come easy, and they
Mhm.
come with commitment. And if you're afraid to commit, then you're never going to get to where you want to be. I'm the worst person in the world to give myself grace. I will beat myself up
Yeah,
over
same,
little things.
same.
And you just sit there and you get so frustrated with yourself. And then it's like, how do you move past it?
Mhm.
And, it gets to a point where it just gets so heavy that I just have
See,
to take it there.
here's where the here's where the enemy's so tricky, okay? The Bible says we should stand firm against the schemes of the enemy. That word is methodia, where we get methods. And one of the things that he likes to do is he likes to take what God creates and then he corrupts it. So God gives you a gift, okay? So for both of you, if you were not incredible self-evaluators, if you were not meticulous with the little things, if you just settled for good enough and did not pursue excellence, you're not the quarterback coach that you are, and you are not an MLB pitcher. Because there's a bunch of pitchers that had the goods in high school, right?
Yeah.
But they just couldn't put the work in. Okay, so what makes you who you are in one arena also casts a big fat shadow
Mhm.
in another arena, and then the enemy gets in there. And listen, when you screw up a pitch, you can't be like, well, Jesus still loves me. No, man, if you want to be a good pitcher, you got to figure out how not to hang that slider anymore, or you don't get to do this, right? So you have to go to work there. But then what the enemy does is he gets in there in some other area of your life, and he wants to convince you that God sees you the way you see you when you watch tape.
Mhm.
And that's not how God sees you. See, that's the enemy with that whisper. The Bible says this is love, not that we first loved God, but God first loved us and gave him his son as the propitiation for our sin. Propitiation means a payment that satisfies. When you have a bad game, you are dissatisfied in yourself because you expected this, but you actually executed that.
Mhm.
And that gap is dissatisfaction. No problem in baseball, no problem at work.
Mhm.
But God is not dissatisfied in you because Christ was the full payment that satisfied the law, the justice of God. When he sees you, he sees the perfection of his son, Jesus. Now, you've got to keep those things separate. Whether you pitch good or bad,
Mhm.
God still loves you.
Yeah.
Honestly, when you have a good day as a husband, as a dad, as a believer, God still loves you the same. That is different. I mean, I have to do the same thing in my own life. I can't just be like, well, I'll just be a crappy preacher because of grace. No, 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 no. You don't get to do that. But my performance in my job has nothing to do with the way the Lord sees me. It's Christ's performance on the cross. But do you see how the enemy can get in there
Mhm.
and take what makes you good at your job and then make you question your relationship with the Lord?
Yeah. Yeah, it's showing to me through the podcast right now, through this.
Oh.
Yeah, because I'm a little competitive. And so now that nobody told me that we had like a top 40 podcast. Nobody told me this. Joby mentioned it a couple weeks ago, and I
Now
walk
you know
out,
how
I'm
to
like,
check.
oh, now I have Dallas send it to me. And it's like all I can do is think about, all right, how do we get to number one? How do we get to number one? How do we get to number one? That's a tall task, but hey, bro, like I'm a dreamer. I'm trying to go to number one. But to your point about beating myself up, that's the same family. Like the fact that I want to go that high with everything that I do. Of course, my lows are going to be low because my highs are so high.
Mhm.
God gave me that. Like that, I've got to learn how to manage and not be damaging with the lows, especially in my marriage and at my house. Like it's the reason why I was a terrible actual football coach. Because if I lost, you didn't want to be around me, and I would do whatever it took to not lose,
Yeah.
including going and recruiting players. Right. So yeah, I mean, I can identify, but I also have learned recently in the last couple of years that I'm actually thankful for that.
Mhm.
I really am, because if I didn't have that bandwidth on the high side, right, I wouldn't accomplish what I've accomplished. And of course, if I'm that high here, I'm going to be that low at times too. I just got to learn to manage it. So I know exactly what you mean.
It's funny that you mentioned that because I feel like if you ask some of my teammates, or a lot of them, that you would probably think that one of the most negative things that they could say about me was the fact that I will come in and I won't really care if we lost. I won't really care if we do this, and I try to be this uplifting spirit.
Uh-huh.
But in the reality of it is, I've had so much loss in my life.
Yeah.
I've had real loss.
Perspective,
I've
man.
been on 100 lost teams. My first year in the big leagues, we were a 100 lost team. 2 years later in 23, we're a 100 win team.
Wow.
I've been on the best. I've been on the worst. I've been in real life, I've lost. In real life, I've won. But the reality of it is that loss in a game does not matter.
Right.
And that is a big perspective change for me that I hope that more of my teammates and more of people will see.
I
Do you-
hope that gives you freedom to sling it and be even better because
Yeah.
you know your life doesn't depend on it.
Yeah.
You know, because
Yep.
if you do feel like all of your joy and happiness depends on this game, it will limit what you can actually do.
Mhm.
Because you got to hedge your bets, man. You can't just go for it as unto the Lord, right?
Mhm.
There's something about pitching. I mean, just even at the little league level, when I was coaching our kids, man, when they could just throw with freedom. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
Just because there were some days, and I imagine this just doesn't change, just the level of the game changes. But there were some days where JP would come off the mount, and I'd be like, dude, what are you doing? He's like, I don't know. I'm just throwing as hard as I can, and it goes where I want, and it's like a BB, they can't hit it. You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
And as opposed to, I'm going to try to like manufacture this thing, you know?
Mhm.
I'm sure you have those days too.
Oh, yeah.
I love that. I just wrote that down. Throw with freedom, like because that's not even a baseball thing. Like I mean, as Christians,
Bro.
like you should wake up every day with that same exact freedom. Like
Mhm.
I can just go out there and sling this, right?
Yeah.
Whatever it is.
Well, that's how I try to lead this church. I
Yeah.
mean, when, you know, my wife, God bless her, man. She is, you know, I'm wired, I'm gas, and she's brakes,
Mhm.
and I can see all the things that God might possibly do, and she can see all the ways it could possibly go wrong. And she's actually trying to serve me and protect me from me.
Right.
And we'll launch some new campus, and she's like, we're gonna do another one? And I'm like, yeah. She's like, what does this cost? I'm like, I don't know, a lot, you know? She goes, what if it doesn't work? I'm like, babe, but what if it does?
Yep.
I'm just telling you, we might strike out, but it ain't gonna be looking. There's
Mhm.
no way I'm standing there with a bat on my shoulder and missing opportunity. Because what if God is in it?
Yep.
And if he's in it, you can't stop it.
Yep.
But you'll never get there by just in fear having the bat on your shoulder and not just giving it a rip.
Yep.
And
Old
so
school. Oh, go ahead.
there's
Go.
freedom there, though. There's freedom. You're like, all right, Lord, I trust you. I'm going to go for it.
Old school sales training would always tell people that the best time to make another sale is after you just made one. Right? Like, don't stop after you make a sale. Keep going, keep going, keep going. It's the same thing with this, man. Like, you go out in faith and you do something, and it just gives you a confidence, a faith, a like mission that's built for more. Like, go do the next thing, and then the next thing, and the next thing. And yes, my wife, your wife, every wife's like, okay, when is enough enough? But even they start to realize, like, oh, well, this we got a calling here,
Right.
and you're disobeying the calling if you hit a home run and then call it a night.
Right.
You know what I
playing
mean?
it safe.
Because you're
'Cause
playing it
more
safe.
concerned
Because you're worried
your
about
batting
striking out.
average,
Yep.
Right? Or you want to keep that average.
Yep.
You don't want to risk it again.
Yep.
Oh, man, you can't do that.
That's how I was with my discipleship.
Tell me.
Like, because whenever I was going through it, or whenever I was like contemplating it, like we hadn't had our daughter yet, and
How old is your daughter, by the way, now?
she's 7 months.
Yeah.
Let's go.
And
It gets better. You're in baby jail right now.
no, I love it.
Good for
Like,
you.
she's the best, dude. And my wife is an unbelievable mother. And it kind of, as you were saying with your wife and you being all gas and she's all brakes, that's how we are.
Mhm.
But the difference with her is that she reminds me, because I will put my head down and I will go. I will work. I won't pay attention to anyone or anything.
No.
But she reminds me that I'm a husband and
Yeah.
father first.
Good.
But with my discipleship, that was the big step because I was afraid to ask. I was afraid to take the step because I was afraid of what I would have to give up. I was afraid of what I would have to do or what I couldn't do and I say it because one of the things I said whenever I was getting my second surgery was I want to grow in my relationship with my wife
Mm.
and I want to grow in my relationship with Jesus. And It's funny because, like, it took me, I think I asked him in February or March of this year to start the discipleship, and I had surgery in June of last year. It took me that long to actually pursue it. And it wasn't because I didn't want to. Like, you feel this thing working in you. You feel people talking to you. You feel like these little messages are being sent to you. And then once you actually take the leap of faith, you realize that it's literally that. It's faith.
And don't you realize that's a prayer God wants to answer? Think about this from God's perspective. Like, what's Tyler praying? He wants to be a better husband? Oh, yeah, no, I did write Ephesians 5, so good. Oh, he wants to follow me closer? Yeah, Jesus did give us John 15, abide in me and I'll abide in you. Like, these are prayers your Heavenly Father want to say, yes, I'm going to help you. I'm going to help you do these things.
Yeah, you just described the way this podcast went down. Is he said yes, and it took me another, 8 months for the same exact reasons, bro. Like,
I remember when you told me.
yeah, I don't want to now this is going to throw me out there. Like, I'm getting DMs now asking for marriage advice and stuff like that. I'm like, I don't know. Like,
no, you do know.
You know what I mean?
You off the hook.
No,
You do know. I mean, that was the biggest thing. Like, as we've done this, I think a part of the reason this podcast is so effective. I mean, it is really cool to talk to professional athletes. You know, we talk to all of. It's great. It's so neat, and I get to ask all the fan questions. I think people want to ask the questions I want to ask because we just sit on the couch and we don't know.
Yeah.
All right, but they've also gotten to see Denny in his sanctification process like real life. So he keeps bagging on himself.
I'm not.
I'm
not bagging on myself.
But you are. You're like, well, you know, I'm not a good Christian. Whatever.
kind of okay.
When you talk about your relationship with your wife, and the way you serve her and the way you love her, and when we were interviewing Pollock and you called your wife your hero,
yep.
Can I tell you the number of pastors that are JV compared to you according to God?
No, I appreciate that.
Listen, because Peter says, if you don't love with your wife, if you don't live with her as unto knowledge, God will answer your prayers. So there's some seminarians out there that can tell you all the facts that are contained in that book. But they don't treat their wives very well. And in his scoreboard, bro, you're winning.
Well,
you're losing.
And I appreciate that. And I'm getting better at that with myself. But I think my point in that mainly was because you mentioned, the things you're going to have to give up or what am I going to stop doing? Well, again, like I'm throwing myself out there as my preacher, and I had that same thought. But then isn't it crazy, though, when you go, those things don't matter anymore.
No.
Like I don't even remember what it was that I was worried about. You know what I mean? There's, like, we all know everybody's still got their struggles, but it's like that's because that's the number one excuse of, wait, if I commit my life to Christ, then what do I have to give up? And you think about that from the time you're probably 12 until the time you die, right? But the reality of this thing is, man, like, he fixes that for you.
Yep.
Like, if you just do it, you don't give up anything.
Yeah, it's like, I mean, from my perspective, I've been walking with Jesus for a while, right?
Right.
And I get to see not just my life, but the amount of lives changed at this church, And I'm like, yeah, you're going to give up guilt and shame. You're giving up being thirsty for a cold drink of water. You're giving up hunger for the best meal you've ever had. You're giving up loneliness for companionship. Yeah, you're going to give up a lot of things, but you're like somebody that's only ever eaten a saltine and God is offering you a filet.
Yeah.
And you're like, I don't know. I really like
the saltine's good.
And you're like, trust him, man. This is better.
Yeah. It is crazy. It is actually crazy because it's almost like you think you have this set of goals. And then when you surrender everything to God, you realize, well, wait a second, he's got bigger goals. And what my goals were, like, I think about my goals 5 years ago. And if I would have hung my hat on all of my goals 5 years ago, bro, I'd be done.
Right? Yeah.
I'd be done. Like, I've hit them all.
I talk to church planners and church leaders all the time about a good leader. You don't necessarily cast a vision. I think vision is a little bit overrated because what do you do when you get there?
Right.
What do you do when you accomplish your goals? It's more about direction.
Yes.
Like, we're going to go in the direction of the good shepherd and keep going in that direction until he returns. Because same thing, like if the vision of 1122 was to reach however many people, we would have been done 2 years in.
You'd have filled up that Walmart.
We're not ever done. We're just going to continue to be a movement for all people to discover and deepen relationship with Jesus until he returns.
Yep.
Hey, here's some parenting advice that I learned on this show for parents of littles. Logan Cook, the punter for the Jags, he's got little kids, and he and his wife because I love to hear you say that you love it when your kid's 7 months old.
Mhm.
Because from my perspective, it does get better. Like, it's so cool when your little girl can run up to you and say daddy and jump on your lap. Okay, but Logan and his wife decided that we're not going to use the terms anymore. I can't wait till. That we're just going to enjoy the moment that we're in right now. Because as some dads of some older kids, it goes fast. Everybody's going to say that to you, but brother,
Did y'all steal that from Logan? Are y'all using that?
100%.
We did too.
We talked about it.
We did too.
Because like Reagan is 16.
Yep.
And there'll be, and Gretchen and I love each. I mean, we're not perfect, but you want my marriage.
Mhm.
I mean, I've been married to her 25 years. She's awesome. I love her more now than I just like to hang out with her more than everybody else. And so, sometimes our kids' schedules get in the way, and we're almost like, I can't wait till Reagan is in college. So
Right.
then we're like, no, man. We only got a few more years with her staying here.
You're gonna be
every
sitting
night.
there crying when she
Well,
goes
it's
to
funny,
college. Yeah.
too, because I kind of want to go back to what you guys were just talking about, where, I think the one thing that I struggle with is like, I want to be involved in people's lives. I want to be involved in the church. The thing that I'd have to give up, my sanity and introvertedness.
Well, no.
Like, I would get, because, for me, it's like, I'm a giant human being. I'm 6'8". Like, I walk around and people are always like, how tall are you? And you always kind of bring attention to yourself. People immediately assume that, I'm an athlete and whatnot, and they're not wrong. But then it's like you kind of sit there and you realize that it's like, I just don't want to be like asked that question. This is kind of where you're talking about where, the devil kind of come in and put those whispers in your ear because, it is something that I am passionate about. I'm passionate about community. That's why I was looking forward to this, because when you get the opportunity to talk to people that have been through it, that have gone through the experience and will continue to push you and be the accountability that you need as men of God, I think that is where you really start to see yourself flourish and grow. And that's where I want to be. And that's why, with my daughter, like, I want to be exactly what I need to be for her, and for God to look at me and be like, you did good with her.
Dude, the
But
way you're talking right now as a brand new dad, you will be. I'm just telling you, you will be. You have the right desires, rightly ordered, and just God is going to say yes to that 100%. None of us are
Appreciate
perfect, but just trust me on this. God's a good dad, and he's called you to be a good dad. You're going to be a great dad. You are a great dad.
I mean, Tyler just brought something up that I don't think we've had brought up, and I think it's a problem, is that whole introverted thing. Because I got that too. Like, dude, I have to hype myself up to go out the house. Like, Cody's sitting in there, he's shaking his head. I already know it.
That's fun.
But I think that's a lot of, like, you go to church, you want to get involved in community, you want to get involved, but then you're like, man, I got to meet these people. Like,
I'm not going to remember your name the first time. I'm sorry. I remember seeing your face.
Yeah.
I'm good with faces, terrible with names.
Yeah. It is super. I've gotten much better at that though.
Yeah.
Like even inside the facility. Like, I used to just walk in, do my thing, walk out, not mess with anybody. This joker brought me out my shell one day, and we haven't stopped talking since.
I know.
So yeah.
Well, I remember you judging me because I'm sitting there and we're out on the football field, and I remember AR's going through his whole stuff, and I'm sitting there just hucking the football. And I mean, like, I was like having fun. I was like, I'm gonna get this guy to come see if I'm a football player. And I'm just sitting over there hucking this thing as far as I can go. I think I got it out to like 60 yards or something like that, and I'm like, good enough. But I remember that because I would see that, and it's funny because whenever I heard that you were doing this, I was excited for you. And
Mhm.
then, it continues to move into this thing that's growing across the United States.
Yeah.
It's not just here in Jacksonville.
That's crazy.
And
Yeah.
it's something that I feel like was so desperately needed.
But one of the things you got to
I needed it.
when you're an introvert, you just got to look for the right environment.
You do.
Like at your facility,
Yep.
you guys can all hang out and be yourself, okay? If Brock walks into, that's not the time for him to walk into the grocery store and be like, no, it'd be a good time to meet a few new people.
Right.
It would create chaos.
Yeah.
But in that facility,
Yep.
nobody walks in and is like, oh my goodness, there's Brock or whoever, there's a starting pitcher for the Orioles. Everybody has this understanding, so that's fine. The thing that you've got to understand is regardless of your wiring, God commands us to what he does, right? But a big part, the difference between an extrovert and an introvert is where they find rest. It's not whether they like people or not, but an extrovert is fueled by being around people, and an introvert is drained.
Mm-hmm.
And an extrovert seeks community to build them up, to like, give them more energy. And an introvert also needs to, usually needs to like be alone in order to
Man,
be.
I've never heard it explained like
And then
that, but you're dead
that'll
right.
help you.
Yep.
100%.
Yep.
Also, an introvert is more likely to have more deep, meaningful, caring conversations with fewer people. And an extrovert can just kind of high five everybody, but not know anything about what's going on in their lives.
Yeah.
And so it's not good or bad. It's just God's wiring.
Well, that's how you also like develop relationships.
Right.
Is those intentional conversations. I love intentional conversations. And that's why I think it's so important for like my teammates, like talking with them, like learning about them. Like, I don't care if you're a position player. I don't care if you're a pitcher. I don't care whatever you are. Like, I just want to know who you are at your core, because that's how we build relationship. That's how you build a good clubhouse.
That's right.
And that's how you build a good community. And that's, I think probably the most important thing for all of us.
Yeah. Amen.
How do you think becoming a dad has changed you as a baseball player? Has it?
I think, yeah. I mean, it's taken away a lot of the anxiety in a way, like where it's kind of like, I don't care about a whole lot outside of exactly what you were talking about, where it's like the day that my daughter can run up to me after a baseball game and I sucked and she's just excited to see me is going to be the day that I'm going to feel like I made it in this world and I can leave.
Oh,
Amen.
wow.
Because it's one of those things where it's like you realize that none of it is that important.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's important to win. It's important to compete. It's important to go out there and give my 1000% best effort. But at the end of the day, if my family is happy with me, I'm a good dad, I'm a good husband, and God is providing for us,
Amen.
then I'm content.
How's we see in football a lot lately, seems like faith is more and more talked about. Is it the same way in baseball? Is there kind of a wave of growth going on in baseball as well?
I mean, I would never say that it's a wave of growth because I think it's always been there.
Has it?
I mean, it's a little bit different for us, I think, because you don't hear about it a lot because we're playing every day and people don't really ask these particular questions. You'll start to see those questions asked more at like big time events. I think I just saw one the other day about Bo Bichette got asked at the World Series, like press conference and stuff like that. They'll get at the All-Star game. They tend to ask these types of questions. But there's really cool, magazine called Sports Spectrum that PAO works closely with.
Mm-hmm.
And they tell the stories of all these guys. I think like Brock was in it. And you understand like that a lot of these guys are rooted in their faith. Like talking with Tom about Brock and how he's like, he's with his wife and they just read scripture.
Yep.
It's like that to me is so appealing to him as a person, but at the same time too, it's like that's just who he is. Like he's not Brock Purdy, the San Francisco 49ers quarterback. He is Brock Purdy, the Christian athlete who goes out there and
who happens to be a quarterback. Yep. That's interesting. I never thought about that because he's right. Football's got a 6-day news cycle. Like you play a game and they talk about it for 6 days. They talk about that, the next game, whatever. Baseball, they don't have that. It's
a lot.
Yeah.
162 games a year.
You know what I've thought is like got to be the worst job is being a beat writer for a baseball because they're on that plane every single trip, aren't they?
Baseball people are different. They're so nostalgic.
Yeah.
And they know the numbers like nobody else. You know what I mean? And this is why. Think about what's your favorite baseball movie?
Favorite baseball movie? Oof. I really like Rookie of the Year.
Okay.
Yeah, I just thought it was always like such
a big softy.
Yeah, no, like, I just love a good story.
Here I am over here with Major League. I'm thinking Charlie Sheen. Yeah.
I mean, Charlie Sheen's a good one.
Bull Durham is a classic.
Yeah.
Bull Durham is a good one. I think one that's like slept on is For the Love of the Game. With Kevin Costner. The fact that Kevin Costner is basically in every big baseball movie there says a lot. But
what's yours?
I played softball on the Field of Dreams.
Did you really?
Yeah. Like we went up there and you
awesome.
can like pay whatever, I can't remember, $10 or something, and you go play ball out there.
Didn't they play a game? Didn't they play a Major League Baseball game?
Yeah. It was the Yankees and someone else.
Yeah.
I think it was the White Sox. Yankees and White
Is that your favorite one? Is Field of Dreams?
It's probably Bull Durham, but Moneyball gets me too.
Oh,
just from
Moneyball's
like
so
a
good.
just from like a leadership. I mean, I run an organization, and just this whole idea of let's think about things differently, and let's not just chase the numbers that everybody else has chased. Let's define the win and only do the things with what we have to get there. You know, like we actually watched it as a staff a bunch of years ago.
Really?
Well, when we planted the church, you know, all of a sudden we got all these people, but we don't have the money or facilities to do the things that we need to do. So how are we going to accomplish what God has called us to accomplish? And this is just what we have. And we look around the room, and I'm like, and sorry guys, but we are not the all-star team. I mean, I love everybody here, but I can't believe he's doing this with us.
Yeah.
So what are the, like, if on-base percentage is the most important thing, what is that for us?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And then we allow the Bible to, not the headlines, but the Bible to tell us. And it had a lot to do with like our discipleship journey now. Like if
cool.
The Great Commission is to make disciples. That's the goal, not attendance, not how good the songs are, not how good the sermons are. But that's the goal, to make disciples, right? Then what are the things that we need to do? There have been churches that use baseball diamonds, but we said, okay, this is what we can do to help people take their next step of obedience. And Moneyball had some stuff help me clarify some of those things.
That's cool.
Baseball movie.
I can tell you that you've made a lot of disciples in my family alone.
Thanks, bro. Man, that kind of testimony is the most encouraging thing ever. You know what I mean? To think that God would
you're sitting
use
with one.
me. Well, that's awesome.
I mean, that's you are a big part of that, because I think that the way that you describe it is exactly how it is written. It isn't about sugarcoating it. It's direct. This is what it says, so go do it. And I think that's
what. But not to make this about you, Joey. What's your life like right now, bro? You got a New York Times best-selling book right now.
Yeah, it's
crazy.
There's a lot of go right now. Yeah, a lot of travel, a lot of crazy season. And we were talking about introverts, extroverts. I am by nature an extrovert. Like I love doing this. Typically, like if I'm hanging out, I'm the last guy to leave the fire pit. I'm everybody else pieced out watching the game, and I'm still there with the last group of people. But it does wear me out to talk about me.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Mhm.
Like it when I'm traveling or when we're out in town, and when people want to talk to you about you, you know, I'm like, no, let's talk about you. You know, I'd rather talk about you.
Yeah.
So I do my best, and I love that people say hey and all of that. It's better than them like throwing tomatoes at me.
Yeah.
But I'll typically just try to get the conversation going the other way and ask questions about, hey, how'd you get to church and what's God doing in your life? But
that's what you're doing to me when I ask how what your life's like.
But it's great. I've been saying this a lot. 3 John verse 4 says, I have no greater joy than to hear my children are walking in the truth. And think about who wrote that, John. John could have said, you all know I'm going to be one of the most famous human beings in the history of the world. 2,000 years after I die, people are still going to be talking to me and reading my letters. That's not what he says. But what was happening in his home was the most important thing. And so I've got a wife that loves me and healthy kids that love Jesus.
Yeah.
Bro, I'm the most blessed man on the planet.
Yes. One last thing, and then because I got to ask this. Shohei.
Yeah, when you gonna start hitting, man?
Is he?
Did you hit in high school?
Dude,
or not really?
I was such a bad hitter that I was a pitcher only in my senior year of high school.
Really?
Oh yeah, I think I had 15 at bats. But
okay,
do we appreciate this enough?
No,
not even close, right?
You literally witnessed the greatest single baseball performance in history. What was it? The NLCS.
CS, yeah.
I mean. And then to be able to see what that guy does is impressive. I actually got to, I've got to see it from the sidelines, like in the dugout, like in just seeing what he does and seeing the sheer like attention that's drawn towards him. I mean, it's truly unbelievable. And on top of that too, like he just smiles and he laughs and he enjoys himself.
Did he reach base 9 times the other night? Is that what it was?
Yeah, I think so.
9 times.
I fell asleep. I was watching Thursday Night Football and I fell asleep.
Yeah, he was 4 for 4 with 2 home runs, and then they intentionally walked him 5 times in that 18-inning game.
I mean,
9 times.
They're not wrong.
Well, that's what the manager said last night. Manager's like, I ain't pitching to him again.
Yeah. I mean, no, I wouldn't say that he's like overappreciated, but I would say that he's slightly underappreciated.
Oh.
I don't think that people understand exactly what they're witnessing all the time.
Yeah.
because it's single-handedly the hardest thing to do in any sport is hit a 90-mile-an-hour baseball.
Yeah. See
And then
Michael
throw it
Jordan.
100
Yeah.
throw it 100 miles an hour at that. He throws 100. One of the hardest things to do as a pitcher, and he hits 100-mile-an-hour fastball. Like, come on. It's
Well, because
unfair.
I was of ripe age. Like, I was of the perfect age when the whole Mark McGuire,
Yeah. Very.
Sammy Sosa, that kind of lifted baseball to a whole nother level. It doesn't, like, this guy's better than those guys, way better than those guys, and it doesn't feel like we understand that in America.
Maybe there was like another one that was a part of what it was. There was, there was those three guys.
Yeah.
There was a competition that grabbed.
There'll never be another one, though, will there? Like that?
I can't say that there won't be.
Yeah.
Because that ain't up to me.
Yeah.
But I would argue to say that he is, whenever people throw around the term once in a generation, this is truly, I think, once in a generation. Type player.
Yeah. Is it aggravating that you're in the same generation, or is it kind of cool that you get to see it up close?
Oh, it's fun.
Yeah.
I mean, if you like to compete, those are the guys you want to compete with. I may give up a lot of home runs or base hits to like Aaron Judge. I think Aaron Judge has like the highest expected batting average off of me in all of Major League Baseball. And
wow, that's congrats.
But the thing is that you look forward to it at some point, because whenever you get to compete and compete, and you're just like, I finally got you.
Yeah.
You're just kind of like, it's fun, because it is, at the end of the day, friendly competition. I'm not trying to sit there and hurt anyone. I'm not trying to kill anyone, but I want to get you out.
Right.
And I want to strike you out. Like, striking out people's most enjoyable thing.
Well, you and how big is Ohtani? He's a big boy.
He's like 6'4".
You and Aaron, what's Aaron Judge? 6'7"?
Me and him are about the same size. He's just a little bit wider. He's a freaking unit.
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, he would be a terrifying guy to have on a football field.
Did you play other sports growing up?
I played a little bit of basketball. I never played football. I basically have just only played baseball and basketball, but I stopped playing in 8th grade because of like some political things of not getting put onto a team. And I was like, I'm going to go play baseball. Like, it's what I'm good at. And I had my first, it's ironic or coincidental, I guess. The Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp this year, a AAA team, won the national championship for AAA. And
you're dang right we did.
Let's go.
That's what we do here in Jacksonville.
What's funny is that the manager of the Jacksonville Jumbo Shrimp was my first ever pitching coach when I was 14 years old. His name's David Carpenter.
Really?
And I didn't know this until I had to pitch down here for Major League Rehab. And he texted me and he was like, I cannot wait to see you. And I could not believe it.
That is wild.
And so that was whenever I was living in Morgantown, West Virginia.
Good for both of y'all.
Yeah. I mean, it was cool because I got him a nice bottle of bourbon and I was like, I'm here now. Like, I've made some money. This is my thank you to you, even though it's like, it doesn't matter as much, but it's just like my thank you to you, because he was one of the first guys, along with the coach over there, Ernie Galuski, to really push me and believe in my capability as a player.
And that's cool to see him rewarded now. Like, he's working his way up.
He was rewarded, and it was here in Jacksonville.
Yeah.
Like that. Yeah. And he coached like some of the guys that I knew that I'd play with in years past. And it was just, I mean, I couldn't be happier for the guy.
You're right, though. Baseball's so nostalgic, man. There's nothing better than sitting out even just watching it on TV and just for the sound.
Dude, we watched.
There's nothing better.
We grew up Braves fans. I grew up a Braves fan because we only had 4 channels and TBS was one of them.
Yeah.
It's so weird. I could name the starting lineup of like the 82 Braves with Claudio Washington and,
I was Cardinals,
Bob
same
Horner.
way.
I mean, it's crazy, right? And Necro and all those guys. Anyway, and so a few years ago, I just decided, I was like, family, we're watching the Braves, I mean, back when, great year for me.
Family, we're watching the Braves.
That's what we do. We watch the Braves. And because there's nothing else on during that time, And you don't really watch teams you don't know. Because once you get to know who's coming up and like, all right, so, and at first, my family's griping about it, right? But then we won the World Series. That's the same year Georgia won the national championship. I was like, if the Jags could just win, I'd be in heaven. Anyway, you fast forward about 2 or 3 seasons. Now, even though we were terrible this year, I would come home and the Braves were on. Or I would be out of town and call and the Braves are on. And you can hear like Like Reagan knows who Acuna is, and
Yeah.
it's great, dude.
This
It's
is
great
so-
because you kind of feel like, because there's this. What's very unique about baseball, it's a team sport for half the time. We all need each other. And then you got to stand right there all by yourself and see what you got.
Yeah.
Like no other sport.
It's an independent sport masked as a team sport because
Yeah.
it requires each person to do their own job and do it well.
That is very true.
We've had this argument multiple times, and because he talks about how hard it is to play quarterback, and I'm like, bro, to sit in front of 40,000 people with a full count, bases juiced,
Oh, gosh.
and if you throw one 6 inches the wrong way, it's either going out the park or that guy's walking home and you lose.
Well, I'll tell you this. If you're the parent of a little leaguer and they play football, you're like, oh, at least there's 10 other people out there with them to help. You know what I mean? They can give it to somebody else or somebody, right? When your kid is standing on that mound, you have never been more nervous in your whole life. You're just like, oh.
Are you at a point where all that's gone and you're just focused on the next pitch, or do you feel a little bit of that?
Honestly, like whenever I say this, like I absolutely mean it. I feel like I'm where I belong.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
Like,
that's great.
because
That's
it's kind of like, this is like, as you say, like built for more. Like I was built for this.
Mhm.
Like this is like what I've always loved. This is how I made friends. This has been my life since I was 5 years old. And it's given me the life that I have now. It's brought me here. It's given me my wife and daughter. It's given me the opportunity to be here with you guys. Like it gives
You got
me a
saved through
voice.
PAO?
I got saved through PAO. For those that don't know,
That's kind of like you talking about hunting dogs,
Yeah, yeah.
right? Same thing.
For those that don't
give
know,
a shout out.
PAOs are Christian athlete conference for Major League Baseball, NFL, and NHL.
Yep.
And that is single-handedly one of the biggest life-changing moments for me ever.
And speaking about the right environment, what this I've gotten to be a part of some of these, and what they do such an incredible job of is they pull all of these athletes and their spouses into a place where it's just other professional athletes and spouses. So nobody's signing autographs, nobody's asking, they just actually, they're in the same environment. These folks care for one another. They've got some guys that are a little further along in their faith to lead some of the stuff for some of the new guys. And then everybody, they don't use this language, but to adopt our language, everybody that's like a veteran of PAO is looking to invite their one more. And they sponsor them. They're like, hey, man, why don't you and your wife come on this trip with us? We're going to a cool place. It's meant a lot to our marriage. And you can ask all your questions about Jesus. It's a really, really cool
I
ministry.
think PAO should let Built for More come in and just do a couple podcasts.
Well, I mean,
Oh.
Matt Forte.
They're already they're all there.
Yeah, Matt Forte is like one of the big. He's the Sports Spectrum podcast.
Yeah.
Or PAO, I believe.
Yeah.
But it's cool because
It's cool.
as you said, like it is kind of that one thing. Like I got my one guy this year. Shout out to Anthony Nunez. Like, he got traded over to the Baltimore Orioles. I believe it was either in the Cedric Mullins or Gregory Soto trade. And talking to him and just understand him, because you know who his future brother-in-law is?
Who?
Davis Brin.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Davis is a
So
former quarterback that we train. Yeah,
that's
yeah.
cool.
He's at Georgia Southern.
and he actually came here. I saw him, and anytime that because Austin Reed, same way, like him and Austin Reed were training at the same time, and this was the church that they had chose. And so anyway, like I was talking to him, and he's like, yeah, he wasn't engaged at the time, but he was saying that Davis was his girlfriend's sister or brother.
Yeah.
And so anyway, I was talking to him and I told him about it, and he ended up sending me the receipt that he was going. And I'm like, that's why we do it, because he is a God-fearing man. He loves Jesus. He loves the Bible, and it's that community that I feel changes people.
Yep.
That's fantastic, man.
Yeah.
That's good stuff. We've gone over. Sorry.
I told you I talk.
No problem.
No, that's great. Tyler Wells, Baltimore Orioles. Thank you, man. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I appreciate
You got
guys.
some baseball games. We need to get up to Baltimore.
I went the year the stadium was built when I was in college.
Really?
Camden?
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
This
Well, that
is
was
the place. We're about to do
about the
some
time Ripken was
Yeah, he was playing.
that was around when he was breaking the record, right? I just remember.
Yeah, the count was on. In
Yeah.
the game at that point.
Yeah.
Well, come up. We're doing renovations to the stadium this year.
Let's go.
Yeah, and then
That'd be a blast.
times that we're up at Atlanta, feel free.
We'll come.
Yeah,
That'd be a blast.
I'm not the guy you want to ask. I'm telling you, I'm the guy that show up. I'll call you. All right, I'm at the 7-Eleven. Which way do I go?
Oh no! Listen, he
fine.
means it because I was in New York and they were playing in New York, and he hit me. He's like, "Hey man, come to the game."
Yeah.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, I was flying out.
Yeah, you had the Ryder Cup, you had the UN meetings, you had us playing. I mean, it was a mess down there.
It was crazy. It was awesome.
Yeah.
Well, I appreciate it, man. Seriously,
of
yep.
course.
Yep, and appreciate all you for watching, listening, sharing, all that kind of stuff. Built for More, at Built for More Pod, Denny Thompson, Pastor Joby Martin. We will talk to you soon.